Thank you very much, and good morning to the honorable members of the cabinet, my colleagues in government, members of the academe. I see many who's who here. Thank you all for coming here. And I'm here to present to you the NEDA's take on the tax reform. My key message: NEDA is one with the 99. Now, NEDA is our socio-economic planning body. And we have this motto at the NEDA that we have actually been applying, that is, sentro ang tao sa plano. So whenever we do our development plans, we always keep in mind na sentro ang tao sa plano. That was why it was important for us to first determine what is the dream of the Filipino. Para saan ba tong plano na ito? So what is really that vision? And that is the reason why we embarked on this long-term visioning exercise. This was last year. This is the statement of that ambition. This is the ambition natin 2040. And this is what Filipinos aspire to be, aspire to have, and aspire to do by 2040. They want to enjoy a stable and comfortable lifestyle, secure in the knowledge that they have enough for their daily needs and unexpected expenses. They can plan and prepare for their own and their children's future. Their family lives together in a place of their own, and they have the freedom to go where they desire, protected and enabled by a clean, efficient, and fair government. That is the dream. And so, the next part really is how to realize this dream. So, this is the development agenda for the next 4 PDPs. But essentially, we said that the next 4 PDPs, beginning with this one, should elaborate strategies along these 4 dimensions. First, that the Philippines must be a prosperous, predominantly middle-class society where no one is poor. Take note, we didn't say predominantly middle-income society. It's a middle-class society, one that enjoys the comforts of life, some luxuries even. Okay? It's more equal. At the very minimum, no one is poor. What else? We want that our peoples will live long and healthy lives. Next, we want that Filipinos are smart and innovative, and this is the way to reach the ambition. We have to be smart and innovative. More than just adding the 2 years in education, it's about having quality education. It's about making sure that they're ICT literate, making sure that they imbibe this 21st century competencies and character qualities of creativity, innovation, persistence, grit, collaboration. All those things will require lots more investments in our people. And then, importantly as well, that we live in a high-trust society. So this implies that we will need competitive enterprises. We will need enterprises that will be able to produce quality goods and services at affordable prices so that a lot more Filipinos will be able to realize their ambition. And we have actually identified these sectors where there is an obvious demand because it links closely with the Filipinos' dream of what they want to do, to be, and to have. And we're talking about housing and urban development, manufacturing, including food manufacturing, financial services, of course, transport and communication, because a lot of Filipinos want to travel, agriculture, and we're talking biotech here. Because between now and 2040, there will be additional 34 million Filipinos. And so we will really need to modernize our agricultural sector. We're talking countryside development as well. Tourism and allied services, education services, and health services. So we're also talking about more and better infrastructure. Not just the business as usual infrastructure. It's really about, leveling up if we really want to attain that ambition. This first PDP under the ambition is actually anchored along those 4 items in that development agenda. So as you can see there, the goal is really for every Filipino to have a matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay. And by 2022, The objective is to lay down the foundation for inclusive growth, a high trust and resilient society, and a globally competitive knowledge economy. There are 3 pillars in the PDP. And under each pillar, you have strategies that are meant to attain the outcomes desired under that pillar. The first pillar is on malasakit. It's on enhancing the social fabric. It's really about gaining the trust of Filipinos, our constituency, on our public institutions, government, service, even the justice sector, and even with each other. And even as we embark on this tax reform program where there will be additional revenues, we assure you that there will be a people-centered, clean, and efficient governance under this administration. We're talking about having more of e-government transactions. We're talking about having, expediting all these frontline services. The second pillar is on pagbabago. It's actually transformation, but the kind of transformation that reduces inequality. So it's really about, for the economic sectors, it's about expanding these economic opportunities and then making sure that there is access to these economic opportunities. That third pillar is on increasing the growth potential. Remember, this is not just about these 6 years. This is really about reaching the ambition. So it's not just about making sure that we reach our growth targets, which is 7 to 8% beginning next year, all the way to 2022. We want this growth rate to be further accelerated, beginning the second PDP and even the third PDP. And we think that can be done if, in this PDP, we lay down the foundation for advancing technology adoption, stimulating innovation, and even reaching for that demographic dividend. We also have supporting strategies under the PDP. Primarily is that strategic trade and fiscal policy, macro stability, of course, and competition policy. And then we have here the bedrock. These bedrock strategies are actually the necessary conditions for all the other strategies to work. Now, the tax reform is actually mentioned in Chapter 15. It's elaborated in Chapter 15 of the Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022. We talk about having a strategic fiscal policy. These are the targets of the PDP. And some of these have already been mentioned, but let me just say that in addition to all those that were mentioned about the poverty incidents, we are actually targeting an increase in our per capita incomes so that by the end of this Duterte administration, we will become an upper middle income country. Because we are now a lower middle income country and we have been trapped in that category for a very, very long time. So we want that per capita income would increase to $5,000 in purchasing power parity. The tax reform program is actually a very strategic fiscal policy because it's simpler, it's fairer, and it's more efficient. It's progressive. It has a progressive income tax schedule. It corrects those horizontal and vertical inequities, and it has a lower personal income tax rates and then a broader tax base. Mas marami tayong nag-aambag-ambag. Kasi if you broaden the tax base, then you don't have to collect so much from just a few of us. It will provide the additional revenue that we need in order to ramp up the spending for the ambition. And actually, it provides us a sustainable source of financing. So we don't have to get into this, this cycle of boom and bust just because we borrowed our way through this development. Remember, we want that this development and this growth to be sustained all the way to 2040, and we think that if we're able to get there by 2040, it will be self-sustaining. Just to emphasize the point of how unfair our tax system is. This one is actually gives us the tax rate, the top tax rate of selected ASEAN countries, and the top salary bracket, the top tax bracket, and this is converted in US dollars. Take note, the Philippines is, well, among the ASEAN 5, Philippines has the second highest, second only to Thailand, 32%. But look at the top tax bracket. It's at $10,000. Whereas in Thailand, it's at 146,995. Okay, so it's so unfair. So beginning, when you just reach that level of 10,000, then you are slapped the 32% tax rate. And that's why it's also very paralyzing for a lot of us. Okay, it's just so unfair. Look at Singapore, of course. Well, we hope that by 2040, that will be our tax system. At 22% tax rate, and the top tax bracket is at $231,000. The proposed CTRP, that top tax bracket will actually be at roughly $100,000, 5 million pesos. So roughly $100,000, almost to the level of your Thailand. Yeah, getting there. So tax reform, we all know this, will actually support the achievement of the ambition. It will, of course, finance our build, okay? And like I said, it will be financed in a very sustainable manner, okay? It's not a debt-led growth. What else? Of course, the social services, already elaborated by Sec Ben Chokno earlier. And then there are actually, some apprehensions, especially with respect to the fuel, the excise tax on fuel, and then the excise tax on soft drinks, soda. But this is based on the 2015 Family Income and Expenditure Survey, and we just looked at the share of a typical family, by income decile on, let's say, on fuel, for personal transportation expenditure to total expenditure. And as you can see here, having this tax on fuel is actually very progressive. Why? Because the bottom 10% spends only 0.31% of its income, of its expenditure, of its budget on fuel for personal transport, whereas the 10th decile, 2.75%. So it's very, very progressive. Next, soft drinks, yung mga hindi makabuhay ng walang Coke. Okay, as you can see, ang matatamaan yung mga nasa gitna. Mas mahilig palang uminom ng soft drinks yung nasa gitna. Okay? But even then, it's less than 1%. Diba? So okay lang yan. Okay lang yan. It's less than 1%. Plus, it will lead to long and healthy lives. Yan. Plus, of course, there are mitigating measures. Sure, there is this, perceived fear that it could lead to a one-up in inflation. We think it's temporary. We think it's a once-off. But even then, we have already instituted measures in order to mitigate this, perceived adverse impact. And this was already explained by Sec Ben earlier. Bottom line, our take on this tax reform, we at the NEDA are one with the 99. Thank you very much.